All right, jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to another episode of the Libretti Podcast Diary Show with me, Libretti. Hope everybody had a good week. Mine was good. Mine was busy. Last weekend, my sister and her family came to town. My niece and nephew, brother-in-law, the whole gang. The circus was in town. It was a fun weekend, but my air conditioner was broken, so it was a hot weekend. It was like 95 outside, not much cooler inside, with a couple piss pants kids, a rowdy dog, and the wrath of my sister all in one, under one hot, sweaty roof. So we survived. Everybody survived. It was a good time, and I would definitely never do it again. So thank you for coming down, to my sister. Hats off to you for being a mom. That's seemingly impossible task that I am not ready to take on myself. So anyway, that's what I did last weekend. And then this was a short week for me because by the time this comes out, I'll already be on a road trip. And you'll get videos and recordings of that and how that's going on the Instagrams and how you're doing. But I'm going to be going on a road trip with special guest, The Creature. We might do a road gig, a road episode, so stay tuned for that potentially. But when this comes out, it's going to be Memorial Day weekend. Obviously, I'm recording earlier, but it is Memorial Day weekend now. This is just sort of like your friendly reminder that this Memorial Day weekend is to remember the fallen, service members and first responders from, previous engagements, operations, wars, what have you. And this is not, this is different from Veterans Day. Now, while everybody appreciates people, thanking you for your service and all that, that's not the weekend. That's to remember the fallen. And it's also not to, get rip-roaring drunk, piss your pants, get a DUI, and kill someone weekend either. So remember that, please. This is not just an excuse to go act like an asshole because you got a 4 or 3 day weekend or whatever. So just always remember the reason for behind things. I was gonna say the reason for the season, but that's Christmas, and that's Jesus. So this is not Jesus. This is the fallen. Remember the fallen. Have some. Just take a moment to to respect and honor the reason for the holiday, and then enjoy yourself and do what have yous. So that's that. Just going to get right into it. Try to make it a no-nonsense episode here for you guys. We'll talk about the junction topic and the fan feedback, and we'll kind of go from there. So with that, we'll step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Organic Lip Balm by Gary Gozinia. Brother of renowned gynecologist Dr. Richard Gozinia, Gary's here to bring you the moisturization your lips so desperately crave. Made with organic KY serum, Gary's Organic Lip Balm is guaranteed to turn those flapping lips from Sahara Desert to Niagara Falls in no time. So to get a batch of balm today, visit www.roastbeef.com and use the promo code LIPLUBE for 2.9% off your first stick. Chapstick, lip balm stick. Go to Gary. Reputable source, reputable product, good discount, no-brainer. No-brainer balm right there, so go check it out. All right, the Cage fact. Again, I'm pulling from some recent interviews. We got a lot of new Cage facts to archive here and to bring to the people. So, in an interview, he was asked, "What movie quote do you hate the most when that strangers holler at you in public?" So, of all the movies that people have seen of his and all the crazy quotes that he's had, which one does he hate the most? And he actually said he doesn't hate any of them. He has no problem with that whatsoever. To him, that means that people enjoyed the movie or remember the movie enough to to actually recite it to him, So he's like, it's sort of, he's glad that means they enjoyed the movie. He's glad for that. They must have enjoyed something, part of it, for whatever reason, and he was able to bring that joy to that person. So he has no problem with them hollering, not the bees, or put the bunny back in the box. Whatever quote you have, I can eat a peach for hours. Whatever it is, that's he's all on board for it. I was gonna say all aboard for it, but we didn't get to the junction yet, so. He likes that stuff. Again, it shows him that people still like his movies and care about his work, and that's a good outlook on things. We could take a quick little LPDS lesson out of that one. That's just a good outlook, because you see it time and time again. Celebrities they get bombarded with fans, and it does get annoying, especially when people are being rude and disrespectful. I get that. But when people are just seeing you on the streets and they're fanboying or fangirling out, and they, throw a quote at you or say, I love your movies, this and that, instead of taking it as like, oh, you're bothering me, you're a nuisance, you're a pest, I'm above you, he's taking it as, people seem to enjoy what I do so much that they can't help themselves, and they kind of fall out of the normal script of humankind, and they got a fanboy or fangirl out to me, and I can empathize with that. So that's kind of sort of the lesson there is, again, empathizing with the other person, understanding where they're coming from, maybe, and understanding why they do the things they do, whether they're seemingly crazy or not. So that's a good outlook. That's the Cage fact. Bada bing, bada boom, Betty boop. All right. Moving right along, chugging right along into the junction. We'll spin the logo up. So earlier I asked, I brought it to you guys, what your thoughts were on cyclists, like road bicyclists on the road, not motorcyclists, not racing cyclists, but just the casual hobby cyclists out on the road, day to day. Now, it came to my crazy brain because I see it every day on the road. Most people do. When you're driving to and from work, mostly from work, you see it on the side of the road. A lot of places like New York City, big time cities like that, DC, probably Boston, they have the how you doing lanes in the road for bikes, the cyclist lanes only, like on the right side of each lane, there's one designated area for cyclists to roam free and do whatever they want to do there. So you see most of the time after work. It's as common almost, especially around here, as the runners you see after work on the running paths and the sidewalks and stuff. Now, there are distinct differences between the running community and the cycling community. And that's what I want to bring up today, because I want to highlight them. I want to sort of, I guess, vent maybe, or just express my feelings and emotions towards them initially. And then hopefully this serves as sort of like a sort of a lesson to cyclists out there on how you're being seen from the outside of the world, and maybe what we can all do to get better at, understanding the cyclists, and then the cyclists understanding everybody else out there who seemingly hates them, because according to your feedback, they're not popular. So we'll get right into it. I got some notes from some fan feedback, if you will. So I'll try to pop that up and see what we got here. Okay, so this guy right here, again, this is more of an emotional feeling, and not really, it's an emotional feeling. He says, they can all go straight to hell. Now, I can understand where that guy might be coming from. I can assess where that guy might be coming from, because I have had similar feelings in the past towards a lot of different things, including the bicyclists in the tights and the how you doings. Where this guy falls short, though, and this is, again, we were trying to teach lessons here, okay? So we're always trying to pick apart things to find the lesson in everything, in the failures, successes, opinions, thoughts, emotions, what have yous. That's what we try to do here, okay? And also to entertain and to share a few laughs. But the lesson here is, this is a poor argument, okay? If we're talking about structural integrity of an argument, a sound, logical, facts-based argument, this is what we would call a poor argument. Now, again, this fella just lobbed a quick comment on the video I posted asking for your feedback, and I understand that this person was probably very emotional. If I were to venture a guess, I'd say they deal with cyclists in tights on a regular basis, driving home from work, and they're just tired of it. Completely understand that. But for future reference, my dear friend, if you're going to provide a bold, seemingly emotionally driven statement like that, opinion, a feeling, if you will, and I will, you should probably back it up with some reason behind it, okay? Because what we don't want to do is we don't want to fall into that sort of trap of being thought of as non-credible, because all we're doing is just flapping our gills with our emotions and our feelings and our opinions would have nothing to back it up. If you can't back your shit up, nobody's going to take you seriously. And while this individual, this fella right here, I get it. I know where he's coming from. I can imagine where he's coming from anyway, because he didn't actually explicitly say so. I can only make an assessment. I can make a guess, educated guess. So in the future, maybe, my friend, put a little bit more behind that. I got it. They can go straight to hell. But why? What did they do? What do they continue to do that warrants a visit to hell? And if you got that evidence, we can still disagree, but now I understand more so where you're coming from, and it makes sense for everybody, and we can move forward amicably. This right here will invoke most likely a contradictory reaction, from somebody who disagrees, but because that they're just thrown out an emotion, that reaction to this person's feedback is going to be probably also very fiery, very spicy, and very illogical, if you will, because that's how arguments start. That's how angry arguments start. I sling bullshit, give no justification whatsoever. You respond in kind with more bullshit. That's not what we want here. So, my guy, thank you for your feedback. Now you can, again, learn and grow for the future. So, thank you for that. All right, moving on along here. Does that make sense? I don't know. My brain's kind of fried. It's the end of the work day. I did a workout, and now I'm here with you fine people, so my brain's a little bit scrambled eggs tonight. So I apologize. But this guy right here says he doesn't mind the bicyclists. He also is trying to give a justification for the tights thing, and this to make them more aerodynamic. Now, I absolutely agree with that. I think it's pretty indisputable that the main reason for the tights and the special shaped helmets is similar to how it is in like the swimming community or even like the Olympic runners. It's to be more aerodynamic, cuts the drag as much as possible so that you can get tractor beam right down the track to where you got to go. The less drag, more force, more throttle, whatever the scientific aerospace engineering terms are. That's the point of it. Got it. My question is, what do most of these people need to be more aerodynamic for? Okay, if we're going to dig deep into this one, the majority of these cyclists out there are hobbyist cyclists. They're doing it for exercise, to get out there, get their, burn their calories. All good things, by the way. Number one of the big three, exercise every day. But very few, if any of them, are out there training for the Tour de France or the Olympic events or actual races where they need to be aerodynamic to compete for a prize, a trophy, money. What the hell do they call the money prizes? Not checks. God damn it, Libretti, you stupid bastard. Scrambled eggs brain tonight, let me tell you. But anything, any sort of trophy, award, something you earn that they're competing for. Most of them are not doing that. So, yeah, you want to be more aerodynamic. For what? What are you trying to beat? your last time of an hour to go 10 miles or whatever your slow-ass time is, again, in context, look at all the factors going on with the situation with most of these cyclists. And I'm not trying to generalize. It's not everybody, but most of these people, you can tell right away, visually and watching how they ride bicycles, they're not competing for shit. Okay? They're just out and about. Again, great on them for getting their steps in and their exercise. But the tights thing does not make sense for me other than they're Olympic cyclists and they're training, and they need to train. Even so, and I wrote this down for later, but might as well talk about it now. Even so, if you look at any other sport besides maybe swimming, every other sport, they're training in not those clothes. Runners run in shorts and T-shirts, sometimes a tank top. Very, very rarely do you see most runners training in singlets like they're about to do the 100-meter dash in the Olympics. Even baseball, even up until college, during baseball practice, you wore like sweats and a T-shirt. You didn't wear a uniform to practice in. NBA players don't practice in their full uniform gear. Football players even have practice gear that's different. So no other sport really are they wearing their full Tour de France tights and gear to practice in. And for most of these cyclists, they're not practicing for anything for the next day. They're just trying to look the part. I don't understand why you need to buy the tights and have your muffin top draped over it and your tiny little ball bag sticking out. I don't get it. It's not a good look, and it's unnecessary. And I understand the whole idea of, like, function over fashion. I'd be the first to tell you I am always pretty much exclusively function over fashion. If anyone has ever hung out with me in public, they can attest to that. But I'm not going to sit there and wear tights when I go for a walk or if I'm going anywhere in public just because I know it makes me more aerodynamic. You can make that excuse for anything. I want to be able to walk faster from my car to the diner, so I wore these tights to the diner. Yeah, technically I'd probably shave a couple milliseconds off my time there by cutting through the wind a little bit better because I'm not wearing baggier clothes. But why? What do I need that for? Why do you really need that? And it kind of goes to the whole aura of the cyclists, like this pompous aura that they have about them because of a large number of that community are pompous assholes and they ruin the reputation for the rest of them. But let me just move on because I'm spitting all over the place. I'm probably going to bitch about this later on anyway with more comments, so I'll move on. I don't want to take up too much of everyone's time and miss out on some good fan feedback. So, aerodynamic, got it. I got it, but I don't get it. All right, I get it, but I don't. And I don't think many other people do either. And if you ask one of those fat bastards that's wearing the tights looking like they're in a sausage skin, and you ask them the same question, I don't think they have a logical answer for you either. I mean, they could probably try to do the mental gymnastics, but they'd likely get tired because they're constricted in these tight tights that they're busting out of. Anyway, moving on. All right, this person right here kind of said something very similar to what I was just flapping my gills about. They look ridiculous, but they're living their best life. The thing I'm going to disagree with here, and thank you for your feedback, young lady. You're a true American hero. I appreciate the feedback. The thing I disagree with here is that, are they living their best life? Again, if you go back through, statistically speaking, all of the cyclists you've seen out there, specifically the ones wearing the tights and the 400-hour helmets and all the different water bottle attachments to maintain hydration on their long treks, their long training rides, and all the other shit, again, the majority of those specific demographic of cyclists don't seem to be living their best lives. They're usually angry. They're pompous. They're cocky. They think they own the road. They're kind of shitty people. At least that's what they portray out there. They could be nice people and, otherwise, but when they get on those tights and their ball bags flapping around, they become a different kind of animal. I don't know. I don't think they're living their best life. The people renting the rent-a-bikes or the ones that have the baskets and the flowers painted on them and they're just weaving in and out all over like not a care in the world, they're living their best lives. They're an absolute danger to the rest of the human race out there who's trying to do something with themselves because they're riding around like there's nobody else in existence, but they're clearly living their best lives. Unfortunately, they're causing catastrophe around them. But the tights wearers, I don't think so. I think deep down that they're angry. They have some sort of a chip on their shoulder. That's why they have to try to pretend to look like they're professional. They have zero patience on the highway or on the roads when cars are trying to pass them and actually do card things. They get mad at that. So I think there's something deep down, something going on inside them that's getting them angry and they got problems, okay? That's the bottom line. I think they got problems and they're trying to hide it under the tights and not really get actual help for it. And, I kind of feel for him there. I feel bad for him anyway. Thank you for your feedback, ma'am. All right, so this guy right here brings up a good point that we just kind of talked about. Wearing tights when going on a regular hobby kind of stroll around the park or whatever, just a nice little ride, even if you're just trying to get exercise, wearing the tights and the shades and the aerodynamic helmet and the gloves, and you have the tights pants with the pads on the ass and the water bottles and all the how you doings. Doing that in the cycle community is pretty much the same as a guy dressing up in a full Michael Jordan Bulls uniform, headband, knee tape, wrist wraps, what have you, rec specs, Air Jordans, to go show up to like a pickup game at a park somewhere. Or you're just going to go shoot the ball by yourself in a park or in your driveway. It's the same thing. There's no point to it. You can argue all you want. Well, that's what the basketball players wear when they play games, so I'm trying to be like that, or aerodynamic, whatever it might be. In reality, though, you don't need any of that shit. There's really no reason why other than you just want to look the part and you want to spend the money to let people know I'm serious about riding a bicycle and doing exercise, which is fine, but most of them don't admit to that. They don't want to say that. Like, I just want to look the part. Nobody wants to admit that. They want to have some other bullshit excuse to sound legitimate. And I think maybe that's what my biggest problem is the fakery going on, the hypocrisy of it all, where they try to hide behind what sounds like a logical excuse, and really they just want to look cool. And that's cool too. Sometimes, as long as you admit it, if you want to just look cool and look the part, good on you. Don't hide behind a lie, though. Don't be a beta bitch boy and hide behind a lie. Have some confidence. You have enough confidence to be 275 pounds and 5'4", wearing tights, looking like a brajol. You have no problem looking like that out and about. But as soon as someone asks you why you're doing that, your confidence is gone. You got to lie. You got to put your tail between your legs and lie and pretend it's a different reason. Come on, give me a break with that, pal. Be better than that. You want to change the reputation of the cyclists and tights community? Be better than that. Keep the tights on if you want, but tell the truth. Don't be a beta. Don't be a liar. Nobody likes a liar. All right, moving on. This guy right here has a problem with the cyclists, even the ones in tights and without tights, because they're risking the lives of other people out on the road because they don't want to be on the sidewalk. They petitioned. There was this giant petition, if you will, this effort back in the day by the cycling community to get bike lanes and that they should be on the road. They have rights too. They have wheels. They shouldn't be on the sidewalk with the peasant walkers. They should be on the road with the big dogs. So then the governments conceded and gave them lanes and roads for the big dogs. And now all they do is wreak havoc on the streets. They think the road is for them, and they forget that the road is for the cars, the vehicles, the buses, things that can smush them in no time. Randy would agree over here. If you're watching in YouTubeville, you can see old Randy here. So the whole idea behind the roads thing kind of fell apart when they decided to be assholes about it. Again, not all of them, I'm generalizing, but when they take over and they're weaving in and out and they're not just using the bike lanes anymore, they're using all the lanes, it's a problem for everybody. And this is what this guy is saying is it's risking lives because now you got cars trying to avoid these cyclists and risking themselves and other cars on the road weaving in and out just because some ball bag didn't want to go on the bike lane or be on the sidewalk because of the bumps and the cracks in the road. And I got to train for nothing because I'm a fat shit and I don't actually do anything. I'm just looking the part and I'm lying about it. So, completely get it. All right, let's see. I think we got one hotline submission specifically for this. Let me see what we got here. Stand by.
Sarge, this is Skip. You know how I feel about the bicyclist on the road. It's a freaking joke. Get on the sidewalk.
Well, there you have it. Skip, an all-time great. A man of few words, but a man of a lot of impact, if you will. And he hit the nail right on the head. Just like what we talked about. They think they're on the road, get on the sidewalk. What is the reason why they're not on the sidewalk? Does anybody have a reason for that? Can anybody explain that? Is it because it's too crowded with people? They don't want to hit people or whatever? Or there's cracks or whatever, what have you? Here's the problem with that theory. Whatever their argument might be, because there's too many walkers, I don't want to hit kids, trying to avoid the walkers, it slows us down because there's people walking, cracks, it's dangerous, yada, 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 whatever it might be. That argument falls right by the wayside the second you see some other person on a bike on the sidewalk. They're defeating the whole effort that they made to get on the road and to be thought of as motor vehicles. And you got guys, now they're owning everything. So they want their cake, they want to have their cake and eat it too. So not only are they on the sidewalks wreaking havoc, because I know firsthand, because I run on the sidewalks. I don't run on the road. I run on the sidewalks and the walking paths around town. And I can't tell you how many times. I got hit more than one time by a bicyclist coming from behind me because they don't signal. They think there's nobody else on there. This is for them only. And they're not paying attention. They're being assholes. And they ran right into me. Now, luckily, I got thick tree trunk roots. And God bless me with a low center of gravity. So it's going to take a lot to take my ass down to the ground. So luckily, these bicyclists got instant karma by hitting this brick shithouse of a fat ass that I have and going right down on the pavement and learning their lesson quickly. But I mean, you pick a lane, like figuratively and literally. You can't sit there bitching about how the sidewalks are unsatisfactory to get your training done, and then once the townspeople concede and give you bike lanes, you're like, nah, I want both. And then when I'm on the bike lane, I want all the rights of a pedestrian, but all the freedoms of a motor vehicle. Because that's another thing they do on the roads. They try to play, I have the right of way, I'm a cyclist. I don't think so, buddy. You're on the road with two or more wheels, you're now a motorist. Check the laws. So if veer into my lane and I run your fat ass over, and now you're a blood sausage laying on the ground, not my problem, pal. Okay? Take it up with the coroner. And that's the problem. That's the big problem I have with all these bastards. Most of these bastards. Is that not only are they bitching about cyclist rights or whatever you want to call it, then they take advantage of those and try to take more rights and get pompous and arrogant when you try to let them know, when you're in your car and you let them know, hey, this is a road for motorists. Okay, if you can't play with the big dogs, get out. They get pissed about that. They get pissed about the people on the sidewalk. Meanwhile, and they're doing the arm signals, left, right, get out of my way. Meanwhile, they're looking like I just stuffed a venison summer sausage after a hunt. And everything's popping out. Like a ballpark Frank. Like you ever cook a ballpark or a Nathan's hot dog on the grill, and you could see it's about to bust, and every once in a while it just pops. And you get that psst. That's what these people look like, most of them. And that's the problem we have from the outside community. So if you're a cyclist, here's the lessons for you guys. This is how you're perceived. Okay? But this is everybody else. This is walkers. This is joggers and runners. This is motor vehiclists, people driving home from work. Everybody else not in the cycling community, this is how you're perceived. From most people, okay? If you look at the numbers here on the poll that I did, 82% say nay when it comes to the cyclists. Because this is the reputation that they've cultivated for themselves, because the majority of them are assholes like this and do cause more danger to the roads and even to pedestrians on the sidewalk. So the lesson for you is, now you know how you're perceived, and you can now take the steps necessary to fix that, to change your reputation. Be more mindful and understanding of the people out there and why they honk at you, get mad at you. And then maybe I'll do an episode. Here's a little a potential future topic, or an interview maybe. That's what we'll try to do. Maybe we'll get a cyclist on here, especially a tights wearer. Maybe I can just go outside and find one on any given day. They're all over the place. And talk to them. Get their take. So now us outsiders can understand why they might be coming off as arrogant or angry and short-tempered and pompous. We can get to the bottom of the tights thing, and now everybody learns and grows, okay? That's one of the best ways to move forward with people of differing opinions, is to empathize and understand where they're coming from. And what better way to do that than to get it from the horse's mouth themselves? So maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll try to do that and get their take on it, because I think that could probably benefit all of us. And we could still disagree. At the end of the day, it's going to take a lot for me to agree with some hobby cyclist on why they should be spending money and buying the tights and looking like that. It's going to take a lot, but I'm hoping maybe there'll be some mutual understanding. And it's also going to be sort of like a lesson in how to have adult conversations with people that you don't have same opinions on. And that's something that actually maybe I'll talk about in this future episode too. Maybe we'll do that too. Got a lot of ideas. I got to write these down. Well, I'll just re-listen to this, but that's a good idea, Libretti. Maybe I'll have an episode dedicated to like a how-to on how to build a robust argument, and then have that debate adult conversation with somebody, and what the goals should be in that. It's a great idea, Libretti. Great idea. So stay tuned for that. So we got a lot of things in the hopper now. We got cyclists in tights. We got how to be a better, orator, debater, conversationalist, adult, what have you. So we're moving and shaking, baby. There we go. All right. That's all I got on that topic. I don't know. Is that his Stugotz of the week? Maybe. Probably. I'll add it up there. Add it to the list, the Stugotz of the week. But I do want to get some. We got some other hotline questions or input that I don't necessarily think has anything to do with what do you call it? This topic. So, but we're gonna play them anyway. So let's see what we got here. Stand by.
Junction. This is Pony Greeks. Listen to the podcast right now. Let's shut this guy off. He keeps talking. Hey, this thing actually worked. Sitting here, wasting my time. Should definitely be leaving work. But while I was sitting here leaving work, I know that you bit of input here about a future poll potentially. We talk a lot about, we did a lot of Christmas movies, but we really haven't dove into the quality of 80s action films and how that level of quality is no longer part of the entertainment of America, and how we've lost the action films out of the 80s. So maybe a poll of what is your favorite 80s action film, and then forgive me if I missed the podcast where we talked about this. But I think this is worthy of a dedication of some portion of your future PCAST to dive into quality 80s films. Pony Greeks out.
All right, so Pony Grigio over there. He's a loyal fan and a brother in arms, so thank you for the call, man. That's actually a good idea. And I'll have to do some, I'll try to get your feedback, try to refine that potential topic a little bit, but that's another good idea is there's a lot of good 80s films out there. A lot of cheesy ones, but also good. And we talked about several of them previously on the podcast. And we can find out, we can talk about them more and get, we can have different polls and discussions based off of that. So I like that idea. We a lot of wiggle room there to work with and a lot of potential lessons. Again, we can have fun and we can still learn shit. All right? And that's the goal here. The goal is to have fun, moving and shaking and laughing and bebopping around and then learning some shit in a fun way. It's a lot better and more effective to enjoy the process you're learning through than to be sitting there and listen to, some ball bag teacher who hates their life and hates their job just regurgitating some PowerPoint slides on a smartboard or some shit like that. So if we can enjoy our time here and also learn something, that's what we're going to do. So we'll find some potential future topics out of this good idea here and see what we can do with it, folks. So Pony, thank you again for your input. You stay strong over there, fighting the good fight, for our freedoms, if you will. So, all right, let's see. We got another one here. Let's see what this guy has to say.
My lord, this such a pepper. I was thinking about this, come si chiama the guy? The Liver King. He's a guy who goes around, boom, boom, a big muscle, pectoral, very big. Question to you. Do you think he's a very big, juicy, big Michelin? Or you think he's not much a Michelin at all, and that's why he had to get a big pectoral? I'm a very primal like this, huh? You've seen this guy, how he goes. Okay. But this is the question to you, and come si chiama, the junction. Okay. You tell me. Okay. I'm going to end the call now. Hold on. Let me see. Find the red button, and then we push. Okay.
All right, so sausage and peppers, everybody. For those of you who don't know, he was talking about the Liver King, who is a guy I follow on Instagrams. I'm obsessed with him for a number of reasons. He's a wild man. Eats a lot of raw meats and testicle and some other stuff. So that's what he's talking about. He wants to know if he's got a big pishkadil. And I don't know. He might. He's either got a tiny like steroids, shrinkage, little pig in a blanket, or he's hogging out. He's choking primals out with that thing like it's nobody's business. It's one or the other. There's no average with this guy. He's all or nothing. So he's either, in therapy for not being able to satisfy, his hand, or, he's ripping lips. And no amount of Gary Guzinia's organic lip balm is going to fix that mess. So I can only speculate. Maybe I'll try to get him on the show. He's definitely way too famous. In fact, the only podcast he's done so far has been Logan Paul's Impulsive podcast. So he's certainly not going to want to come on here for that. But we'll give it a shot and we'll try and find out. So, but thank you for your input, Sausage and Peppers. It's always a pleasure to hear from the great SMP one. All right, I think that's all we got from the hotline this week. So thanks for the inputs. Don't forget to call in with anything, obviously anything. Whatever your heart desires, a question, a comment, a troll, whatever you want. Call in, and it'll likely be put on the show, and we can talk through it like adults and have a good time with it. So 202-670-1114, that's the hotline. Thank you guys for the inputs. That's all I got today. A quick and dirty, no nonsense. Before we go, though, very quick, we'll get into the big three. And for those new listeners out there, the big three is the three pillars we try to instill every day in our own lives to be better, happier, kinder, less stressful people, and to spread that goodness and positivity out to the rest of the world as well by genuinely doing these things. So number one, exercise every day. It improves your lives physically, mentally, and emotionally. And improves your health physically, mentally, emotionally as well. So do that. Simplest thing to do. Go for a walk, do jumping jacks, do JO, whatever you got to do. Number two, the hardest one to do, don't be a shitty person. Again, always go back, take the step back, take that split second before you let your emotions run wild and try to empathize and try to understand where the person is coming from on the other end that you may or may not be about to shit talk or be shitty to. And then think about why you're even doing that and if that's worth it and why are you getting joy out of being a shitty person or why are you doing it at all, whatever it might be. Take the time to think about that before you do it. It's the most difficult thing. The easiest thing is to just let your emotions run wild and then apologize on the back end, but we don't want to do that. We want to prevent shit like that from happening because you forget. Once you say this shit, you can't take it back. You can apologize all you want and learn and grow, and hopefully that person forgives you, but it doesn't unsay what you said. It's always going to be on that person's brain and in their heart, no matter what. It's always going to be there. So think about that as well before you decide to be a shitty person because you can't get that shit back. All right, number three, the most important one. Be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. It's easy to sort of just flippantly say, yeah, I'm grateful for you guys, this and that, whatever. But it's another thing to, again, take the step back, take a deep breath, take that look inside, and think about what you have, all the good you have in your lives, and just be thankful for that. Because there's nothing we do that says we deserve any of that. Like there's no sort of law that says, oh, you're a nice person, then you have to get these good things in your life. You're owed this. This is your salary for being good or for working hard. Because in real life, we've all been there. We can work our asses off at something or be kind to everybody, and you get nothing back in return, nothing good back in return from that. You can work your ass off and get no accolades, no extra bonuses, no nothing, and then you could be nice to everybody and they could just be shitty right to you back. There's no obligation for anybody or anything for any reason to give good back to you if you're being good in general. It's a shitty thing to understand and to realize, but that's just the way of the world sometimes. So think about the good things you do have and the times that somebody was good to you or nice to you or generous when they could have been shitty for no reason, but they chose to be nice. Be grateful for that. All the good things you have in your lives, the good salary, the good jobs. You could say, oh, I earned that. Yeah, like there's a lot of things I feel like I earn. I work my ass off at work. I train hard for races and for sports and stuff. And then good things usually happen. But if they don't, there's nobody who needs to be accountable for that. It's not like I have any sort of legal authority to go tell someone, hey, I worked my ass off. Why aren't I getting anything good out of it? That's not a thing. So the good you do have in your lives, cherish it. Be actually grateful for it. Because there's no written rule that says you're entitled to any of that shit. We're blessed and lucky to have that stuff in our lives. And yes, even though we work hard and earn shit, there's still no law that says we need to get that shit. So be grateful for what you do have, for the good shit you do have. Now that's all I got. I said I wanted to be quick with the big three, and then I ran my dick sucker extra long again, like I usually do, so I apologize for that. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you again. Don't forget, we got Tank Tops still. Tell your friends and enemies. Like and subscribe. Keep giving the feedback. Put the comments in the YouTube. Just hit the thumbs up or thumbs down. You're already clicking on the link to watch the video. Click one more time on a thumbs up, thumbs down, because the more interaction I get on there, the more people are going to see it, the more fan feedback, and the more you guys are going to get in the long run from it. Okay, because the more feedback I get from you, the better I can be for you in the future. So it's not like I'm getting money out of this shit. It's not like I need views for money. I'm not getting shit. Okay, I'm not even getting anything from these damn sponsors because they're not even real. I'm making them up. I have no sponsors. Okay, you're the sponsor. You guys are the sponsors of the show and the success. So do all those how you doings, and it'll be a better show for you guys. So thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.